So we're off to Italy on another adventure. Here we are in the Milan airport, getting ready to go to Lake Maggiore. So here is the first view of Lake Maggiore from our hotel. So here we are having our first glass of wine in a bruschetta overlooking Lake Maggiore. This is the view from our hotel room on Lake Maggiore. So here I have the menu of our first dinner here in Lake Maggiore. So after our gourmet dinner, we're out here on the porch looking out over the lake. So this is the foyer here in our hotel. Very elegant ceiling down there. So the first sort of activity of the day is to go over to that island there on a ferry. Europe has some just fantastic walls. So we're continuing our walk here on the island. And now we're back where we started. So the ferry has arrived to take us back to the mainland. So here's our last shot of the island. So here we are in Orca. Well, this certainly is a very classy parking garage they have here behind the stone wall. So here we have one more picture of the island that we visited. We are heading off to catch the ferry to go over to an island over there. Here we are with the island in the background, heading off. We're passing this island where we'll come back and have dinner later. So we have arrived at this palace owned by a family. Yeah, there's quite an amazing walkway here in terms of the use of the pebbles. This is a pretty impressive room. You can't get the sense of it, but certainly for a private residence, this is pretty impressive. This is a very spectacular thing made of small parts of glass. Out in the gardens here we have a white peacock.
And the
under that tree right there. One side of the tree.
Isn't this a lovely tranquil view? So here we are for our evening meal on the Fisherman's Island. So we're having a delightful meal on this restaurant on the Fish Islands. Yes, there is Julie. And what is better than to finish this meal off with a little limoncello? We've returned from our ferry and we're heading back to our hotel. Here we are having drinks on the patio of our hotel. In the background we have the shoreline of Lake Maggiore. So here's our last view down the lake from our hotel room. So we're loading up to leave this lovely hotel. So we're taking a tour here of fields that will ultimately grow rice. So this is a museum of agricultural equipment. So over here we have a lot of old farm equipment. So we're having a rice-oriented meal in this restaurant. Over here we're going to have a cooking demonstration. Over here we have Amy mixing the risotto.
Celery, tomatoes, it depends from.
So we're about to head off on a city tour and we're in front of our hotel, the NH Collection. So we're visiting one of these galleries. So chocolate's a very big deal here in Torino. So this is the Royal Palace. This is the view down toward the train station. Picture of me taking a picture of myself. You can't visit Italy without visiting some Roman ruins. Over here we have the Roman wall and one of the gates into the city. Here we are in front of the Nike store. We are concluding our tour here in St. Charles Square. We are drinking Spitzers and having hors d'oeuvres in this lovely square. So this is
I would
my
say
dinner.
it could be a pizza, but no, it's just.
So here we have a little action on the river at twilight. We're in after dark. So here's our bus, and we're going to head off to a winery on this gray day. So I'm now back in my preferred position in the bus in the very back middle seat, giving me a panoramic view. So certainly these hills are covered in vineyards. So here we are at the Castello. We're heading up to see this castle. So here we are, over there, and the top is one of those traditional hill towns here in Italy. Heading back to the bus. So we're heading down here for a wine tasting. Here we are in the wine cellar. We just sat down to have a lovely wine tasting and lunch. This is the first wine from our wine tasting. So now we're drinking the real deal here at Barolo.
It's too bad because the other.
Here is the wine we're having with dessert. Well, I couldn't find it this afternoon, but here I am at twilight in the Royal Garden. So here we have the Royal Palace after dark. And here we have St. Charles Square. So the road we're on has lots of tunnels. So we've arrived in Rapallo and are heading off for a cooking experience. So we're going to have a pesto presentation in this restaurant. Here's Amy trying out the pesto on some bread.
Oh, I should try it?
So here we are, overlooking the harbor of Rapallo. I have to do one last shot here of the harbor in Rapallo. We're about to take this ferry to Portofino. Coming into Portofino. So here we are strolling in Portofino. So Ricardo just treated us to a lovely ice cream in this place. So this is heading back to the port. So here we are, 2 glasses of wine, and this is our view. Well, another view from our hotel, including the cruise ships sitting out here in the bay. Here we have the waterfront here in Margarita. So we're about to leave to catch a train to start our trek up the Cinque Terre, or down the Cinque Terre actually. So here we are with our first view of the water in Monte Rosa. I don't know how this will look with the sun, but this is basically looking down the coast that we will travel through today. So the water here is spectacular. Oh, here we are leaving Monte Rosa. So here we sort of see the beginning of the walking trail. This appears to be a better idea than bed and breakfast. So here comes our ferry. Here we are cruising down the coast. So right over here we have the hotel that we stayed in when we were here in 2009. We have reached the highest point, and here we have the classic view.
I think there are little kids and babies.
Lovely walls they have here in Italy. So we're saying goodbye to Venanza and heading down the coast. Here we are coming into Manarola. This is our walk here into town.
Jump and swim to the restaurant. Exactly. We'll jump and swim for our fish.
So this is the famous tourist shot back at Milano. This area with the rocks is especially spectacular. Looking down in the harbor here. Here's the train station. We're gonna head home. Yeah, let's cocktail hour again with this fantastic view we have. So this is the view from our hotel back into town at night. So we're having a balsamic vinegar tasting at this place. Here we have a lot of barrels of aging vinegar. So we're drinking small samples of different balsamic vinegars. We're about to have lunch in this sort of quiet little village. And now we have a second ravioli. So here are some of the local sites here. So looks like we're here in Main Square. Just like touring some beautiful galleries here. It's part of the old wall right here. So here we are having cocktail hour in the gardens in this our lovely hotel. So here we go on our walking tour of Valladolid. There's no stone around here, so most of the buildings are made out of clay, terracotta, or brick. Some places have these mean-looking keyholes to keep out the evil spirits. So now we're in front of a very pronounced tower. And now look at this.
Well, there is some salame rosa.
So we have a lot of great street art here. Here is the view of our hotel. So this is the view from our hotel in Vicenza. We are off to take a walking tour of Vicenza. This is the gate into the city. So here we are walking down the main drag in Vicenza. Very, very impressive clock tower next to City Hall here. So we're going in this place for dinner. They have this many wine glasses on the table. You know it's not going to be a dull time. Here for dinner we have 3 wines, red, white, and sparkling. Okay, things we're picking up here looks like risotto with peas and a variety of things. So we're heading back to the bus. And here we have a number of very happy gelato eaters. So we have returned from downtown and we're sitting on the patio here. Very pleasant limoncello and a glass of Sauvignon Blanc. So this is where we are eating breakfast this morning. So we're visiting this winery to drink Prosecco. Now we're down in the barrel room. So this device on the top of the barrel keeps the barrel full of wine. So we're heading to the conclusion of our wine tasting lunch.
It's nice. You should try if you have the, you know.
Here we have a very famous bridge over the river. We're heading for a museum and a grappa tasting. So we're about to have
usually
a grappa
drink this grappa also into coffee.
So here we have a view of the bridge. We have returned to our hotel. We're having a little informal cocktail party out here before our final dinner, and of course this is our view. Here we are in a relatively elegant setting for our final meal. This is the view we have. We have a menu here with our dinner for our final meal.
That's a nice picture.
And we started out with 2 bottles of wine for 4 people.
Given
Should be a
his
pretty good meal.
interest in this.
So here's our last breakfast in Italy. Got my mimosa, got my cappuccino, got my granola and yogurt. Got this very lovely lady here. And of course this is my view. So here's our van that's going to take us to the airport so we can go home.
All the best to your families.